The whispers of the villagers carried far and wide, but none cut deeper than the words Amira herself once said in anger. Let me die first. Let the baby come out with one eye and 3 legs. She had no idea those words, spoken out of hunger and stubbornness, would mark her daughter's destiny forever. In the village of Nkwum, surrounded by thick forests and golden farmlands, Amira was known for 2 things, her beauty and her unusual cravings. Her husband, Chaik, was a strong and respected hunter. When the news of Amira's pregnancy came, the village rejoiced. Everyone expected her to be calmer, gentler, but her cravings grew wild from the very first month. One morning, she demanded roasted rabbit, rolling on the floor like a child until Chaik ran into the forest to fetch it. Another week, it was monkey pepper soup. Another time, porcupine stew. The villagers laughed behind Chaik's back, calling him the running hunter because he spent every day chasing down whatever odd animal Amira fancied. But 3 days before her due date, Amira took her stubbornness to the extreme. She screamed for giraffe meat, a creature no one in Nkwum had seen in years. Chaik tried to reason with her, begged her, but she refused to eat or drink until her craving was met. The elders and women pleaded too, but Amira's tears and threats shook the household. With no choice, Chaik and his fellow hunters ventured deep into the forest. After days of sweat, danger, and near death, they returned with what Amira wanted, giraffe meat. Amira devoured it with joy, and 2 days later gave birth to a baby girl. The midwife gasped when she saw the child's long, strange neck. The whispers began at once. It's because of the giraffe meat. Some villagers laughed, others feared it was a curse. Amira forced a smile, but deep inside, shame crept into her heart. The baby, named Neka, cried with a sound that reminded everyone of the wild. As the months passed, Neka's neck grew longer and longer. Chaik still loved her, but Amira could no longer bear the stares and gossip. To her, Neka was no longer a blessing but a humiliation. One cold morning, while Chaik was out hunting, Amira carried the baby into the forest, placed her under a tree, and walked away with dry eyes. When she returned, she pretended to weep, shouting, "My baby is gone." The villagers believed her story of a mysterious kidnapper. Only the trees and the wind knew the truth. But fate had its own plans. Later that same morning, a woman named Ngozi was walking home with a sack of cassava. Ngozi was known in the village as the barren woman, mocked and shamed for years. She heard a faint cry by the footpath and found the abandoned child. When she saw Neka's long neck, she didn't flinch. She simply bent down, hugged the baby, and whispered, "You are mine now." She named her Ifunanya, meaning love, but called her Funa for short. Funa grew up in Ngozi's humble hut. Though she was loved dearly, the village children mocked her endlessly. "Giraffe girl," they shouted. They threw stones and paper, laughed at her long neck, and refused to play with her. At school, the humiliation grew worse. Funa often returned home crying in Ngozi's arms. "Mama, why am I like this? Why didn't God make me normal?" she asked one night. Ngozi wiped her tears and said, "My daughter, your neck is not your shame. It is your crown. One day the world will see it differently." Years rolled by, and Funa blossomed into a beautiful young woman despite her sorrow. She had smooth skin, bright eyes, and a voice that carried calmness. Yet the whispers never stopped. Villagers called her the girl who sees tomorrow because of her neck, and some even mocked her at the stream. She should marry a giraffe in the forest. But among the crowd was one man who saw her differently. Obinna, the wealthiest gold trader in Nkwum, often greeted her with a smile. While other girls fought for his attention, his eyes rested only on Funa. He began sending food, gifts, and even clothes to Ngozi's house. "Mama, who keeps giving us these things?" Funa asked. Ngozi smiled knowingly. "Obinna, he likes you." Funa shook her head bitterly.
"No, Mama.
"He pities me. No man wants a girl like me." But Obinna's persistence only grew. When his bold and jealous sweetheart, Chidinma, discovered his affection for Funa, she stormed into Ngozi's home with her friends. They mocked Funa, calling her names, threatening her to stay away. Funa broke down in tears, questioning even her existence. Why did my real mother throw me away? Maybe she was right, but Ngozi, with tears in her eyes, held her tight.
"No, my child.
Your real mother lost a diamond. One day, the same people who laugh will bow their heads in shame." That prophecy came true sooner than anyone imagined. Obinna did not give up. He visited personally, carrying gifts of roasted chicken and plantains, humbly greeting Ngozi. "Is Funa home?" he asked softly. She hid behind the curtain, trembling. He left without pressure, but his respect touched her deeply. Finally, after much persuasion from Ngozi, Funa agreed to marry him. The wedding shook Nkwum like thunder. People came from far and wide. Obinna's mansion glittered. The food flowed endlessly, but nothing captured the crowd more than Funa herself. She walked gracefully in a white flowing gown, her long neck adorned with layers of dazzling gold necklaces. The same villagers who mocked her now gasped in awe. "Is this not the girl we once called Giraffe? Look at her now, like a queen." But life is never without trial. Months after the wedding, a great famine struck Nkwum. The skies withheld rain, the rivers dried, and hunger spread like fire. Families starved, even the proudest ones. Yet Obinna's house never lacked food or water. Every day, lines of villagers appeared at their gate, begging for help. Funa gave generously, even to those who once mocked her. She fed the poor, shared water, and clothed the needy. One weary afternoon, a broken man appeared at their gate. His clothes were torn, his steps weak, and his face lined with years of pain. It was Chaik, her real father. He bowed, asking only for food and water, not knowing the beautiful woman before him was the daughter he had once cried for, and whom Amira had abandoned. Funa's eyes softened. She turned to Ngozi. Mama, please give him food and water. Chaik ate slowly, whispering to himself. Her long neck, so beautiful. She looks like what my child could have been if only he left with blessings on his lips. Still unaware. Funa never knew the truth either. The villagers, once full of mockery, now bowed their heads when they saw her. Children whispered in admiration and women said she turned her shame into glory. Yet Funa remained humble. She only smiled, holding her mother Ngozi's hand and her husband Obena's arm, knowing she was finally seen for who she was, not what she looked like. And so, the girl once abandoned for her long neck became the golden-necked queen of Nkwum, teaching everyone that what the world mocks today can become tomorrow's crown.